Episode 4, Through Shadows and Light. Welcome to Episode 4 of our podcast. Today, we're bringing you a deeply emotional and thought-provoking story titled Through Shadows and Light. It's the tale of a young man facing a string of hardships as he tries to support his family, only to face insult and exclusion along the way. As always, we'll delve into the story with language tips, practice exercises, and questions to help you improve your English while engaging with a meaningful narrative. Chapter 1. The Weight of the World. Daniel Harper shuffled through the dimly lit streets of the city, his hands buried deep in his worn jacket pockets. At 24, he bore the weight of responsibilities far beyond his years. His father had passed away when Daniel was a teenager, leaving him to care for his mother and younger sister, Lily. Despite his best efforts, the jobs he managed to find barely kept them afloat. His latest job as a delivery driver paid the bills, but left him exhausted and unfulfilled. Tonight, as he walked home, the icy wind cut through his clothes, but he barely felt it. His thoughts were consumed by a mounting pile of bills and the shame of knowing he couldn't give Lily the opportunities she deserved. Daniel's tall, lean frame carried an air of determination, but his slumped shoulders revealed the burden he carried in silence. Inside their modest apartment, Lily was waiting with a bright smile that momentarily lifted Daniel's spirits. At 14, she still had an optimistic view of life, despite the struggles they faced. Their mother, Anna, sat at the kitchen table, her frail hands working on a knitting project. Though her health had declined in recent years, she refused to let her illness dampen her spirit. "Danny, you're home," Lily chirped, handing him a cup of tea. Her wide brown eyes sparkled with innocence, a sharp contrast to Daniel's weary gaze. "I'm home," he replied, forcing a smile. "What's for dinner?" "Soup?" Anna said softly, glancing up. Her voice was kind, but there was an underlying sadness in her expression. Daniel felt a pang of guilt, knowing they had soup so often, because it was all they could afford. Chapter 2. The Fall. The next morning, Daniel arrived at work to find his boss, Mr. Simmons, waiting with a sour expression. "You're late," Simmons snapped, though Daniel was only 2 minutes behind. The older man, stocky and perpetually scowling, seemed to have a particular dislike for Daniel. "Sorry, Mr. Simmons," Daniel muttered, setting down his bag. He worked tirelessly to avoid mistakes, but Simmons always found something to criticize. The other employees avoided Daniel too, perhaps fearing that associating with him would draw Simmons's ire. Later that day, Daniel's truck broke down during a delivery. As he wrestled with the engine in the freezing cold, he could feel the judgmental stares of passers-by. A man in a tailored suit muttered, "Why don't they hire competent people?" Loud enough for Daniel to hear. Humiliation burned his cheeks, but he kept working, determined to finish the delivery. By the time he returned to the depot, Simmons was waiting with a stack of complaints. "You're useless," Simmons barked. "I'm docking your pay for the delay." Daniel clenched his fists, his knuckles whitening as he fought back the urge to retaliate. He couldn't afford to lose this job, no matter how unfairly he was treated. Chapter 3. Fractures. That evening, Daniel returned home to find Lily in tears. "What's wrong?" he asked, crouching beside her. "They're making fun of me at school," she sobbed. "They say we're poor, and that I'll never amount to anything." Daniel's heart broke. Lily was a bright, talented girl, but the cruelty of others was chipping away at her confidence. "They're wrong," he said firmly, holding her hands. "You're smart, and you can do anything you set your mind to." But his words felt hollow. How could he promise her a better future when he was barely holding their lives together? Over the next few weeks, things worsened. Simmons continued to berate him, the bills piled higher, and Lily's once bright demeanor dimmed. Daniel felt like he was running on empty, his resilience tested at every turn. He began to withdraw, his normally kind eyes shadowed by exhaustion and self-doubt. One evening, as Daniel sat on a park bench, lost in thought, an older man approached him. The man, neatly dressed with a kind face, introduced himself as Mr. Carter, a retired teacher who often visited the park. Sensing Daniel's distress, he struck up a conversation. "There's a lot weighing on you," Carter observed gently. Daniel hesitated but found himself sharing his struggles. As he spoke, Carter listened intently, his kind eyes never leaving Daniel's face. When Daniel finished, Carter offered him advice that would stick with him forever. "Life will throw its punches," Carter said, "but your worth isn't measured by the obstacles you face. It's in how you rise above them." Inspired by their conversation, Daniel decided to make changes. He began looking for better job opportunities and started attending community workshops to improve his skills. Though progress was slow, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Chapter 4. Turning the Tide. Weeks turned into months, and Daniel's determination began to pay off. He secured a better job at a logistics firm where his new boss recognized his dedication. Lily began excelling in school, buoyed by Daniel's encouragement and the stability he worked so hard to provide. But not everyone was supportive. Some of Daniel's old co-workers spread rumors about his departure, painting him as a quitter. Simmons even tried to tarnish his reputation at the new job. Still, Daniel focused on his family and their progress, refusing to be pulled back into negativity. One day, while walking home, Daniel ran into Carter again. The older man smiled proudly as Daniel shared his progress. "You've done well, my boy," Carter said. "Remember, every shadow passes if you keep moving toward the light." Chapter 5. A New Chapter. By the end of the year, Daniel's life had transformed. The once beleaguered young man stood tall, his confidence and resilience evident in his every step. Lily was thriving, their mother's health had stabilized, and Daniel finally felt a sense of hope. Though the road had been long and fraught with challenges, Daniel knew his journey had only just begun. With renewed strength, he embraced each day, proving that even in the face of exclusion and hardship, perseverance could pave the way to a brighter future. Language focus. Key expressions from the story. Here are some key expressions and phrases used in the story. 1. The weight of responsibilities refers to the burden of duties or obligations. 2. Clenched his fists, a physical reaction to anger or frustration. 3. A ray of hope, something positive that gives encouragement during difficult times. 4. Turning the tide, changing a situation from negative to positive. 5. Toward the light, moving toward positivity or improvement. Practice section. Step into the story. Imagine you are Daniel at key moments in the story. Use these prompts to create your own dialogues or reflections. 1. At the diner with Mr. Simmons, write a short dialogue where Daniel stands up for himself against unfair criticism in a polite yet firm manner. 2. On the park bench with Mr. Carter. Imagine you're seeking advice from a wise mentor. Write down your conversation, including the questions you'd ask and the wisdom you'd hope to receive. 3. Encouraging Lily. Pretend you're writing a motivational letter to Lily to help her regain her confidence after being bullied. Extended practice questions. 1. What challenges did Daniel face, and how did he respond to them? 2. How did Mr. Carter influence Daniel's journey? 3. Why is the phrase, turning the tide, significant in the story? 4. Write about a time when you or someone you know found a ray of hope in a difficult situation. 5. What lessons can be learned from Daniel's resilience and growth? In this episode, we've explored a story of resilience and the power of perseverance. Through Daniel's journey, we've seen how determination and kindness can overcome even the toughest challenges. Remember, every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. See you in the next episode